Hey everyone! For me, Venom There Be Carnage was pretty average. A simple plot, nice action scenes and talented actors. It's your typical one-time blockbuster. I did not expect anything outstanding from the movie, so I got what I wanted. Of course, if you sit and think about the script even a little, you immediately realize the movie has problems. Big problems. However, it's better than the first movie, because the 2018 Venom was about nothing at all. Here the events move quickly, the characters are more interesting, and the villain, while not fully fleshed out, is better. Overall, it's just an unremarkable movie made not for art, but for big box office returns. It's clear the creators weren't trying to explore any them, address any issue, or teach us anything. No, that's not the case. Sure, you could force an idea out of it and say it's about friendship, teamwork, and overcoming difficulties together to defeat evil, but that would sound absurd. In the end, it's a mediocre film. Maybe all the underdevelopment in Venom There Be Carnage come from its deleted scenes. Initially, I thought the movie didn't have any cut content at all, especially after the director mentions that the sequel was always intended to be a tight 90 minutes, resulting in a complete product. But with the release of the sequel on DVD and Blu-ray, it turns out there are actually a lot of deleted scenes. Most of these are extended scenes. I have categorized all this material by its impact on the plot. First, the scenes that impact the plot the most, and probably shouldn't have been cut. Hopefully, there are some of those. And then, the truly absurd stuff that thankfully got left out. Alright, let's dive in.
Make them pay for what they did to us. Every single one of them.
So, I think the most important part of the deleted content is all the deleted scenes with Cletus and Shriek together. There are several of them. I will show each one because Francis is the only motivation for Cletus to do anything. She is his love. Let's start with the extended opening scene of the movie, where their boss at Saint Estes' home for unwanted children, but then she gets taken to Ravencroft. Here, Cletus reads a poem to Shriek, calling her his angel who keeps him from going insane. When Francis is taken away, he promises to kill anyone who gets in his way of reaching her. These scenes don't drastically affect the overall plot, they just better reveal the relationship between these two. So you might wonder, why did I add them here as the most important? But it's better to answer that later, after you have seen all the deleted material.
I've made a list.
The dirty cop who took my eye on that.
In the next scene, Shriek and Cletus are making a wedding guest list, while swinging on a symbiotic swing, but Carnage interrupts them. He says they're wasting time, when they could be creating a new race, making history, and then ruling the world. This gives us some insight into the symbiote's motives, which is great, because in the theatrical version, it's unclear what Carnage is up to, and what his motivations are. Frances admits she wants to have children with Cletus, and he proposes to her. They kiss.
This is where we began.
We first met, it was as if you unleashed a box of squirrels into the trees of my mind.
The couple is seen again on a swing, this time a regular one, talking about how much they love each other and reminiscing about the old days. At the end, Carnage says,
"And they will pay for what they did."
Now there is one last scene with Cletus and Shriek, where they dance and celebrate against the backdrop of a burning orphanage.
Maximum carnage.
These deleted scenes, as I mentioned, don't significantly improve the film, but they do a better job of showing and developing Cletus' relationship with his wife, which was lacking in the theatrical release. One of the main issues with Venom There Be Carnage was the villain. Many viewers felt the antagonist was underwhelming. I don't entirely agree, there is something there, but it just isn't fully developed.
Do not be afraid, I am the lethal.
From this point on, the scenes get really ridiculous, so it's no surprise they were cut. In one scene, Venom tries to help a guy and tosses the bad guy aside, then grabs the civilian by his head. Naturally, the civilian tries to defend himself and pulls out a weapon. Venom doesn't like it for some reason, and just kills him by throwing him off a height. Yeah, no comment needed. There is also a small additional clip. When Venom leaves Eddie, Brock gets a call from an unknown number, but he doesn't answer, silences his phone, and throws out all the food. Pointless.
Wow! I can't believe that I'm sat here, right now having this moment with sunset on a beach with an alien.
Here's an extended final scene at the beach. Venom tells Eddie they love each other, but Brock denies it, insisting,
I don't love you. No, I mean, I like you a lot. I really like you, but love, you know, yeah, you know.
Yeah, honestly, I was hoping for something more, not this nonsense. The deleted content really was unnecessary. This rarely happens in movies like these. I did find a few positives in some scenes with Carnage, but overall, nothing changed. The sequel remains very problematic. It boils down to a bad script. I had hoped Sony would rethink their approach to this new franchise and make the third film the best of the trilogy, but after the Venom Last Dance trailer came out, it became clear that we shouldn't expect anything new. The new movie is going to be just like the previous two. But you are, my dear viewers, click on the like button, subscribe to the channel and write what you think about it in the comments below. We will see you soon.